All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to Azusa High's Cafe Azteca. Today is May 20th, 2021. So we're almost there, people, almost there. Today we have the YWCA San Gabriel Valley Programs and Services for Domestic Violence Survivors, Senior Care, Mental Health, Legal Services, and more. So thank you for joining us. We want to respect everybody's time and we want to start on time. We're going to start off with our agenda, norms for our virtual meetings. Our presenter, YWCA, is here. Ms. Jenica, we have our resources and we have future meeting dates for you guys, okay? Our norms for our virtual meetings are mute your microphone, okay to turn off your camera. We are recording these meetings, and be present and participate. Also, we want to remind you that we have Dr. Gomez. You can always reach him at his email, and we have Assistant Principal Lorraine Pegarori and Assistant Principal Mr. Rob Velasco. You can all reach them all through their email. It's one of the best ways to communicate with them if you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns. Okay, thank you. And like I said, we want to respect everybody's time, and I want to welcome Ms. Jenica here, who is here from the YWCA, who's got some information she'd like to share with us today. So thank you. Welcome, Ms. Jenica. Thank you so much for being here. Please begin.
Hi, hello, everybody. My name is Jenica, and I work for the YWCA San Gabriel Valley. And I actually have been working here for going on 22 years. So I do have a lot of experience working with our agency. I'm really passionate about helping to provide education on teen dating violence, healthy relationships, and domestic violence. And so that is part of what I do. I go out into the community and I share information to local high schools, colleges, law enforcement agencies, community agencies, hospitals, doctors, clinics, dentists, pretty much anybody that I can go out and speak to about our agency and what an abusive relationship looks like and what a healthy relationship looks like. So just to share a little bit about our organization, the YWCA offers a variety of services. So we actually have our senior program that works with the senior population in the San Gabriel Valley. We provide Meals on Wheels. We do case management. And we have caseworkers that are actually going in the homes to, work with those families. And then on our domestic violence side, which is the program that I work in, we have a variety of services. So we offer counseling, support groups, assistance with restraining orders. We have our outreach services is what I do, and I also work at our shelter. And then we also have our shelter services. So our shelter services include an emergency shelter for 45 days for people who are actually fleeing that abusive relationship and looking for somewhere to go. So we work with families who are in that immediate dangerous situation and actually trying to find just a safe place to be. It's very temporary. We're just trying to get you out of that unsafe situation and put you into a safe situation, and then try to connect you and coordinate resources for long-term housing or transitional housing programs that maybe we work with in the community. It can be very difficult to get housing, and we understand that. So our shelter is a very temporary place just to kind of get people into that safe situation. And we're one of the only shelters in the San Gabriel Valley. We are the only shelter in the San Gabriel Valley, but we are one of the only shelters that takes teenage boys with their parents up to the age of 18. So if there's a parent and they have teenagers, so like, let's just say I have a 14-year-old son, a lot of times what happens is they're calling looking for shelter, and a lot of shelters will say, sorry, we don't take teen boys. And if that was me, I'm not going to want to leave my teenage son behind, right? So I might end up staying in that relationship longer. And so we are very lucky that we're able to take teenagers into our program with their parents. It's a really unique program. We have a lot of teens that come here. They'll start the new high school. They'll get to have, just a little bit of what high school is like in a safe space and not having to worry about all of the issues that were going on at home. We also were built as a shelter. So our program, in 1982, our shelter was built, and we have our shelter. So it started in 1979. The shelter was built in 1982. And it was actually built as a shelter. So we have 11 rooms in our shelter, and we can hold up to about 40 people at a time. And so we have a counselor that's on site. Our families attend groups, the children attend groups, the teens attend groups. And we have underground parking so our families can hide their cars. So our shelter location is confidential. Nobody knows where our shelter's at. We pick up all of our families from another secret location and bring them back to our shelter. And that's really important to know, because within the first 72 hours that somebody leaves an abusive relationship is when they're most likely to be killed. And so it's extremely dangerous for somebody who is trying to leave an abusive relationship. And so we understand that we have to take a lot of safety precautions when we're bringing somebody into our house, and for the safety of everybody that's already here and the safety of our staff and the families that we're bringing in. So that's why we pick them up at a secret location. Our main office is located in Covina on Cypress and Grand, and that's where we do a lot of our outreach for families. So let's just say that maybe a person is in an abusive relationship. They're not really sure how to get out. They want that support. They just need to kind of figure out maybe they're not ready to go into a shelter, or they don't need a shelter, but they just need that support. They can go there for support groups. Or maybe we have people who have already left that relationship and they're like, I want support. I want to understand. I want to become educated so I don't get into another abusive relationship. Then they can come there for that. And then we also have people who are mandated by Department of Children and Family Services, because they've stepped in now to kind of intervene and say, hey, if you don't start going to these classes, if you don't get a restraining order, then these are some of the things that can happen. And so people can come to our groups, our classes, which is a 16-week program, and they can get a certificate at the end. And a lot of times DCFS will see that they're taking those steps to try to help prevent and educate themselves to get out of that abusive relationship. So we do offer a variety of services. You know, one of the things that I've done in the city of Azusa is work with some of the kids at the schools, going in and speaking, and then working with the Azusa Police Department to help to educate the police officers on the dynamics of abusive relationships, because we know that those are the most dangerous calls that law enforcement goes out on. And so really helping them to understand what's happening when they're getting these calls and going out to them. And so that's also, you know, been really helpful, is that partnership with the police station as well. So I don't know if there were specific questions that you guys had. I mean, I think for us, you know, we want to try to provide as much education to the community on what this topic is and what it looks like, and really understanding the dynamics of unhealthy relationships and healthy relationships, and being able to provide that to parents as well as the students, because we know that for people that grow up in homes where they witnessed violence or they've experienced that, it's very easy to get in a relationship like that. You know, domestic violence is a learned behavior. So when you grow up in a home where this is something that you've witnessed and you think that this is what's normal, as you're young and you start in that dating phase, it's very easy to kind of get into a situation where those red flags maybe don't go off, because it's like, oh, this is normal. This is what happened in my house, right? This is how a relationship looks. And if you don't know what a healthy relationship looks like, or you haven't been given that information, it's very easy many times to just kind of follow that path of what you're used to, what's normal, what's culturally accepted. And so we really want to try to break that cycle and provide that education to the community. So, you know, I'm more than willing to provide like a full domestic violence presentation. That's kind of my specialty, is to go out and talk about DV 101, what that looks like, healthy relationships and unhealthy relationships, to schools. So if there's teachers that you feel like, hey, this would be a really good topic to come in and we'll talk about this in a class, that's usually where I'll start, is to go into the schools. Or if there's, you know, a group of parents that actually want to get together and they want to hear like an actual, you know, detailed presentation, I would, you know, more than happy to do that for your families. But this is just kind of an overview of what our program offers. And, you know, if there's anything specific that anybody has questions on, all of our services are free. And so we have a 24-hour helpline. So even if somebody's looking for, it doesn't just have to be for domestic violence. If they're looking for parenting, substance abuse classes, a homeless shelter, you know, some other form of a community resource, we have a staff that's available 24 hours a day to kind of look for those resources and referrals. And then we help connect people. Myself and 2 other managers are on call 24 hours a day. So when we have situations, they will call one of us to help kind of navigate through those crisis situations. So if there's something specific that somebody may need, whether it's specific on domestic violence, we still have the resources to help.
Do we have any questions from our parents in the audience? Any comment or any question? Something we mentioned in our Spanish meeting is a lot of the times maybe we don't need the information, but we know someone that does, or a family. I mean, it's not uncommon for situations like this to occur. It's something, Jenica, very common.
Very common. So even if we just look at there's 9 people in this presentation right now, and 1 out of every 3 women experiences domestic violence, and 1 out of every 5 men. So we know that just in this room alone with us, we either have been impacted or know somebody that has been. And so, domestic violence is the #1 cause of injury to women in the United States. Every 9 seconds, a woman is beaten. They see more people in emergency rooms for domestic violence injuries than they do for anything else. So we know that it is happening a lot. A lot of times it goes unreported. We know that it's not just women, and men are impacted just as much. We have men, women, and LGBTQ community that are able to come into our shelter. So we've had, in the last couple of years, we've probably had the most men that have come into our shelter, probably over 10 men that have been here with their children, without their children, because they're also experiencing domestic violence. So we know that it's a very sensitive topic. We know that people are, grown up in homes where this is what was normal, what they witnessed as a child. And so there's many things that can be very triggering. And so I know sometimes it's hard to talk about this, especially on Zoom. So I can't wait to do this in person. But, if you want my information or you have a specific question, you're more than welcome to contact me directly. I'll put my information in the chat because I know sometimes people don't, feel comfortable to ask, especially with this kind of a topic, but we are available, and we do want people to know that there's resources and support out there for anybody who is in an unhealthy relationship.
While we give our guest a moment to possibly think of a comment, or is this something new that you've heard of? Jenica, can you share a little bit more about the counseling program and topics that 16-week session that is offered?
So in our support groups that we have, we go over a variety of topics. So self-esteem, we talk about characteristics of an abusive partner. We talk about childhood. We talk about, what a healthy relationship looks like, what an abusive relationship looks like. We talk about, we kind of try to touch on every topic that has come up when we talk about financial abuse and the power and control and the cycle of violence and all the different factors that go into why people stay a lot of times in abusive relationships, because of the isolation and the intimidation and the fear. And then talking about, the impact that it has on children. And so every week it is voluntary, unless you're being mandated by Department of Children and Family Services, but it's once a week. Right now we're doing everything through telehealth. It's an 1.5 hour group. And so every week it is a different topic. And then at the end of those 16 weeks, you would get a certificate. And then for our individual counseling, then there's a therapist that's available to meet individually. And I know that there might be a waiting list for our outreach services, but that is something that if you called our main office, that you would be able to get connected to one of our case managers, and they would be able to answer and do an intake and get those questions, the specifics of our group times and what's available as far as groups or individual counseling. I'm not sure if there was anything Sophia covered that I didn't cover. I know she because I couldn't understand she was speaking in Spanish, but I wanted to make sure we both covered the same things.
Yeah, of course. Let's take a question from Myra.
Okay.
Hi. Thanks so much for coming and speaking to us. I was wondering, what area do you guys cover, like with your services? Is it LA County only, or how does that work?
So it kind of, I guess, depends on the situation. So as far as when you say what areas do we cover, so we cover all of the San Gabriel Valley area, But let's just say that we need to connect somebody to a resource that's in LA or in the Valley, then we do have access to other resources. It just depends on the situation and what that person needs. So I'll give you an example. If we have a family that's looking for shelter, but let's just say they live in Azusa, maybe this area isn't the safest for them to be if they're actually trying to flee that situation, and we may connect them with a shelter that's in an area that's going to be safer for them. So a lot of times what happens is we work with different cities and different shelters because we want to make sure that that family is going to be the safest. If your family, your friends, your job, your work, your school is on that area, it's going to be very likely that your partner may be able to find you. And so that's where we have to look and see what's that person's need and what area we can best connect them to. But as far as just like if speaking and going out to different areas, it's all of the San Gabriel Valley area.
Okay. And also, I would love to see these classes that you have. I have two daughters, they're both in high school, and I think it's very healthy for them to learn, what a healthy relationship looks like. So I think that would be great to, because, they're growing up, they have a crush or they like a boy. I mean, they're not,
right.
They're not dating a lot, but,
yeah. No, definitely. I think with the high school students, especially when I go out to the high schools, that's where I get the most participation, because the kids will see, they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so checks their phone, and so-and-so thinks, they can't hang out with anybody else at lunch. And so it's really, I think, important for them to understand those boundaries of what healthy relationships look like.
All right. So I guess I'll be probably emailing you to see, the list of classes, and maybe I can run with my daughters one of these days and participate. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, and that was one of the questions that was earlier. Do you guys have events during the summer? Because I don't work here during the summer. I know Maritza does, but I'm not. So, we want our parents to know that, like you said, maybe they don't need the information for themselves, but maybe in the future for somebody else, that they know that, Maritza will at least be here to pass along that information, but also for themselves to pass along to anybody else. And if you guys had other events that maybe our families would, could participate in, or anything else happening in the summer.
I don't think we have any events planned in the summer right now. The only thing that I know I'm doing is I am offering our 40-hour domestic violence training, which is basically a state mandated training. If anybody's interested in volunteering or working in our shelter environment and location, then you would have to go through that 40-hour state certified training. So that is going to be this summer. It's going to be in July. And so basically it's a 40-hour training. And once you complete that, you are able to volunteer in our shelter program. You have to be 18 for that.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. And they would get in touch with you?
Yes. I'm the one that facilitates that training.
Okay. See, that's good to know. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jenica, for any programs or presentations for 16 and up, is that only while on school grounds or only for school-based groups? And there's no online mini course at the time?
No, yeah, it would be at the school, and it would be really the school having me come out and do some sort of a presentation. And I've done a full assembly, and that doesn't work very well. It's because it's kind of everybody gets to be, it's loud, it doesn't work. So if I'm doing a classroom, that seems to work a lot better if I go into a classroom setting. And so, it depends on the class or a teacher, or if there's a specific program that they have and they want me to come in and talk to that class. And I can do it all day. I can do back-to-back classes, but it would probably be most beneficial to just do a classroom setting with however many students are in that class.
Awesome. Sounds like something Latina and I can work on for next school year.
Yes.
Or even if you just opened it up and said, with ASB, I know sometimes they have clubs that, hey, we're going to do an event. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. A lot of times I'll try to work with the schools and do a presentation during that time. The ASB will organize food, and you know, they could even come during lunch and hear a presentation on healthy relationships. So sometimes working with the kids and they want to really like bring this to the school and they're like, we want you to come and talk, then that's another way that we can like coordinate and actually have an event on campus.
Go ahead, Myra.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm the youth services director for Rotary, and I oversee the Interact clubs at the high school. So I would love to work with you, Maritza, if you guys want to organize something like that. I'm pretty sure Interactors would love to help put something like that together.
Yeah, last year we did an event with one of the local high schools and their football team, and I went and trained the whole football team, which was awesome. And they all wore purple ribbons on their football helmets in recognition of October's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So they did one night of a football game and everything was purple and everybody wore purple shirts. And it was just a super awesome way to show that support and awareness for domestic violence victims. And there was so many people that are like, no one has ever done this before, you know, like this is so awesome. And so it was really cool to see that the school kind of took that initiative and had me work with the football team.
That would be really nice. That's really cool.
Yeah. So any ideas that you guys have and you think like we can work together, it would be awesome to work with the, we get a lot of families from the city of Azusa. And so I feel like, you know, we really do want to reach out to your community a lot we're neighboring communities, but I know we get a lot of families that receive support from our agency. And so we definitely want to be able to give that back and go out into the high school and help.
If we organize something through like Rotary, to have like an event where we invite a few youth or something, and would you be able to come out and do a presentation?
Oh yeah, definitely. I just did a Rotary event yesterday and that was awesome. So they came out, I did a presentation for them as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
See? So many wonderful things that YWCA is doing. I'm glad that you were with us, Jenica, and be able to share it. Not a lot of people know. They probably see, like Sophia mentioned in the last meeting, they see the initials, but they don't really know what it is or what they do or what goes on there.
A lot of times people think we're the YMCA, so they're like, "Oh, do you have a swimming class and do you have a gymnastics?" And we're not. That's definitely what we don't have.
And something that was mentioned a lot is legal advocacy or legal support, like guidance, restraining orders, and free services, or guiding you to those free services, right?
Yes. So we do have a legal advocate that helps, can coordinate to do the restraining order paperwork and then connect with some legal resources that are maybe of a low cost or like a sliding scale in the community.
Any questions or comments before we move on?
Okay, well, nobody has questions, but you have my email and my number if you guys think of anything or you want to get in contact with me directly.
Yes, it sounds like there's gonna be a lot of planning in our near future, Jenica.
Yes. Sounds good.
I'm very excited for it.
No, me too. I'm happy. I'm excited to work with Azusa. I think I mentioned to you guys, we used to come out and do a lot with you guys and I lost the contact. So I'm happy to be here today. And I appreciate those of you that joined us on this call. Thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, Jenica. If you want to stick around.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Now we're going to continue with housing rights hotline. Our last meeting, we had many parents ask regarding housing rights and housing help, regarding tenant help or tenant support. What are my rights as a tenant or even a homeowner and a homeowners association? So I found this information for weekly, I'm copying and pasting, multitasking. Weekly online workshops. So every Thursday there is a fair housing rights workshop. There's a Spanish one at 6 p.m. and there's also a fair housing rights a workshop in English at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays. So I'm sure you can find these workshops that were probably recorded on the Housing Rights Center website. I added their link in the chat. They have one-on-one clinic appointments where you schedule and register yourself, and they'll give you a call, or they'll set up a specific time to talk to you over the phone and talk about your certain particular situation. There's Facebook Lives, Q&As on Mondays at 2 p.m. And there's also COVID-related housing rights workshops Fridays at 2 p.m. So the HRC is a housing rights center. They have so many wonderful information about what are your housing rights. And their hotline is 1-800-447-5977. They also have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and their website. And on Wednesday, the 26th, we have promotores, mental health promoters, and the topic would be suicide prevention amongst teens and older adults. And it's a topic that was created due to the high frequency and need of the situation. So we invite you or anyone else in the city of Azusa to join us and hear out how we can prevent or support those who are facing such challenges. Again, that will be Wednesday, the 26th, next week, from 6 to 7:30. And usually the last 30 minutes are time for comments or questions or anything that anyone else would like to share. And those meetings are confidential or private, so they're not recorded, so you're free to share what you need to share or would like to share. Myra?
I was going to ask if they were recorded.
Yeah, they're not recorded.
All right, thanks.
Yes, we have limits.
No, it's just I can't be there. We have our school reorganization meetings from 5:30 to 7 a day. That's like, but no, that's cool. Thank you. Maybe next year.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe next year we'll have one where just we'll provide like information or something. But yeah, this one, they're really good topics.
Awesome. Thank you.
The Spanish one will be on Tuesday, the 25th, at the same time, from 6 p.m. to 7.
Maybe I'll catch that one. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. If you check out our Instagram page, it's posted in the feed, the links, and I'll activate them on Linktree.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And lastly, I was going to play a little video. I'm going to play it.
Yes, play it.
If you haven't taken the survey for community schools, please do so. And this is just a small explanation.
Parents. We're asking you to fill out this community schools survey to get your opinion and insight on how we can continue making Azusa High a great place for you, your student, and for the Aztec staff. In a text message or email, you receive the link for the survey. Make sure it says parents, relatives, caregivers, or guardians. Your participation in this survey is completely voluntary. There are no right or wrong answers in this survey, and it is confidential. If you would like more information, there's a contact number for Dr. Frank Olmos at the bottom. If you have the right language, click Next. First, please create an anonymous unique identifier by answering the following questions. After creating this anonymous unique identifier, you can continue on to the next question. The survey will ask you to consider your experiences with one school. Please choose the correct school, Azusa High School. If you have children who are currently students at more than one school listed below, please select the school that you will think about in responding to this following survey. These are the only schools where we will be applying these survey questions. For now, please choose the Azusa High School and then notify or identify which relates to you at this school. Parent, biological, adoptive, or step, relative, caregiver, foster parent. You can decide to decline to respond or another specific guardian, and you can clarify. You must answer these questions before moving on. After this, the questions should be fairly quickly and just requesting your honest and true answers in your experience with Laco Community Schools at Azusa High.
And the last day to submit your answers, your survey, is the end of May And we're asking all parents, all staff, all students to do a survey that is specific to them regarding Lakewood Community Schools at Azusa High School. And all your answers will just help us improve and continue the support or enhance what's already going on at Azusa High School, and then bring in whatever was mentioned and that might not be needed. Okay, so we'll be sending the links out again for that on Friday. Barbara?
Now, is this the same survey we had to fill out maybe about a month ago or 2 months ago, or is this different?
This is different. The one that you filled out more recently was specifically for the district of Azusa. It did ask you what school does your student go to, which would be Azusa High, but that was from the district. This one is from LA County Office of Education, and partner with UCLA and the Department of Mental Health. So those three organizations created a community school initiative, or like a community school idea, where community school members, myself and Miss Betty Sodier, were placed at Azusa High School to see what's working at Azusa High School and what are some partnerships or organizations that Azusa High School would like to create more family engagement, to support the students more with college and career, to help the staff feel like they're sufficiently equipped to teach the students on a not just academic level, but to cover their basic needs, so they're prepared mentally, emotionally, and physically to be successful in school. So it's related to the emotional, physical, and academic needs of the child.
Okay, even if our student is leaving the school, you still want us to fill it out?
Yes, because your experience is, in Spanish, it would say único. It's like you're the only one that experienced the senior year, especially during COVID at this time. So we want to see what worked, what you liked, so we can continue doing that, and what didn't work, so we can change that and make it better.
Okay, because I was deleting it thinking it was the same one again, and I'm like, no more survey.
I know surveys are a little hassle, but they really do help us in the end.
Yes. So
okay,
please.
so you're gonna send out the link again, or?
Yes, I'm gonna send it out tomorrow. I can send it to you after this meeting. That way, you can just have it ready and done.
Okay, I'll fill it out.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hi, Aztec.
And we're already over time, so you already know next week we have Café Azteca with the principal, June 3rd. Letty, what are we doing?
June 3rd? We're having our end of the year meeting where we're really going to need, of course, your ideas, comments, thoughts, anything that'll help us. Even if you're leaving, what we could do differently or what workshops you'd like to see. And you guys are always, of course, welcome to join us at our meetings. You guys are still part of our community, so please. That we have 211, which we have our two representatives, 211, Miss Michelle Gonzalez here today joining us, and we have our prize, our monthly prize.
It's not my fault.
Good news, our June 3rd, our final Café Azteca, we're gonna have an option for multiple winners. I think about 6 raffle winners. So don't worry, there'll be more winners. Hopefully Barbara doesn't win that time.
Be nice. I'm not the one spinning the wheel.
That's true.
But yes, so hopefully you guys will join us on June 3rd for our last meeting of the school year. Maritza will be here in the summertime. I will not, but that's why we really need you guys. So, she can continue to work and help out with the services. And that's why you guys need to do that survey. And again, we are still having a couple of more drop-ins with the Parent Center. Hopefully Michelle will also be joining us during that time from 12:30 to 1, just with questions or comments or any assistance you guys might need, or just to say hi, introduce yourselves. It doesn't matter, just, that's what we're here for. And so hopefully join us for a couple of more of those, okay?
Michelle, if you'd like to say something.
Sure. So I'm Michelle. I'm from 211. I'm the community care outreach coordinator that I'll be working closely with Leticia and Maritza to provide services, link with whatever I can, and just be an assistance to everyone and make sure that whatever parents and the students need, I can help them with. So thank you.
Thank you and welcome. We're very excited.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We value your time, and well, maybe we don't because we went over 6 minutes, but we're sorry. We're sorry, but thank you for joining us. You're our loyal friends and our loyal colleagues.
Yes, thank you.
And we always need your guidance to continue doing what we do and to best fit your needs. So thank you very much, and we hope to see you next week.
Yes, thank you, you guys.
Bye.